Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Lost Colinas. If you're already subscribed, then you may be noticing something a little different from my previous videos. I am speaking. Yes, I have decided to drop the text boxes in the corner and try an audio commentary for a change. Someone, said it would be a bit more enjoyable to watch my videos, which I certainly agree. I know for those that actually have a commentary in the background of their builds, it is much easier to watch their videos. So I decided, why not give it a try? It's my first time, so I apologize for if the quality isn't the best, but I certainly have a lot more time now on my hands thanks to COVID-19. All my classes at university are online now for the remaining of the semester. So the amount of time I have on my hands is definitely increased. Currently I should be sitting in a lab right now, but can't do that. So instead I am making city skylines videos. Not a bad exchange, I suppose. But yeah, so I guess let's get into the video. I hope you all enjoy it. So for here, just a short build, really just this theater I'm going to work on for this episode. I wanted to keep it simple since this is my first video with commentary. This asset is some Dutch theater. I believe it's called the Rabo Theater from Hengelo, Netherlands. Probably butchered the pronunciation there, but it's a nice asset. I've used it before in previous cities. So I figured I had a large space here to fill in, and since it is right smack downtown, most downtowns, I know LA for certain has a nice theater, definitely bigger than this one, but I wanted to have a nice theater, maybe a little, not necessarily upper class, but something that had some like orchestra performances or something really nice would come here. So that's what I imagined would occur in this building. But yeah, here I'm just placing some planters and curbs along the sides of the parking lot. I never like leaving the parking spaces open on the ends just because I don't find that very realistic. So depending on where I'm building it, this is a nicer area, so I want to have some nice green curbs. Here I have just the pavement ones, but sometimes I'll add just white hash marks. But it definitely adds a nice added detail and nothing too hard to do. But yeah, I'm just gonna detail those, adding some flowers as well as some trees along there. Which, yeah, and here I actually, given the weird kind of angle and thanks to the parking lot networks, I decided just to do a one-way entrance and exit here. I think it looks nice because I didn't think it was, enough space for cars to enter and exit on both sides of the parking lot there. So I figured realistically it would be just a one-way entrance. And yeah, I just added some double lines there for a little more detail, and I figured that turned out alright. But so like I said, this entire build entire episode I should say, is just this one theater. I had plans to also include a light rail, station, and have some, for storage of the unused trams, which I ended up building off camera. I do often, when I'm building things, I don't always record because that would be a ton of footage, so I often run into the problem of not knowing what to record and when I'm going to build something worthwhile. So I probably do often, there's footage that I wish would have been recorded, or some builds that I really should have done, just hit record, but unfortunately I don't. So I guess that's another reason why it's only going to be in this theater for this episode. But yeah, so with this, given the positioning of the theater in the city, I was able to use the pavement paintbrush here and just make some neat little angles here of sidewalk instead of just laying down a line of trees or just plain old pavement. I thought it makes it look nice, a little more fancier as I intended for this place, and the palm trees increasing in size there just for the heck of it. Yeah, just adding some flowers and little plants there, make it look nice. But here instead of using just the usual low tri-count trees that I use all over the place in my city, just because they're nice trees. You can see like that one in the right corner there. They're very nice trees and all, but they can get a bit monotonous. So I laid down these nice white flowered or leaf trees just to change it up, add some color for sure, so it's not just all a green wall of trees. But here are these nice little bollards that actually light up at night. Makes it for a nice little night shot here on the theater, because given that most concerts and events in the theater, I would imagine, would occur at night anyways. So I believe that, was very cool. Tried to add some ploppable asphalt there on the roads, but even though the area was level, for whatever reason, it wouldn't level out there on the road there to get rid of the crosswalks. But I just kind of passed that up. Wasn't a super big deal for me, but it is what it is. Just continue with some detailing here, adding curbs, or planters I should say. These really nice breeze trees. I do use those a lot too. I know they're quite an old asset. I'm not sure the tri-count on those things, but I really like using them on planters because the tree trunks are pretty thin on those, even though they're a fairly substantial sized tree. But they look really nice in planters for sure. But with here, I add ploppable surfaces instead of just straight up decals. Reason of being for that is with decals, they aren't they aren't really terrain conforming. They doesn't matter where you place them, it'll cover sidewalk, it'll cover any network, whatever you have there. So given that this was curved here, decals would have made it a pain in order to line up the curve there and make it so it wasn't stretching over too far or whatever it may be. So with these nice ploppable surfaces, it's given that the small road there is actually raised where the sidewalk is, that when I plop the ploppable surface, it just goes right up to the curb, and I don't have to worry about corners popping out or anything like that. So that made it much easier and quicker to add some detail there, which I actually should probably start doing on more locations in my city, because most of the time I use decals, but they have their limitations for sure, as do the ploppable surfaces. But knowing how to use both at the right time certainly makes building a city much more, much better, much faster, much prettier. But so with this here, I had this awkward, as you see, this big cement corner there. Realistically, the parking lot would have went right up to the corner there, but given the limitations of the parking lot networks, I wasn't able to do that. So instead, I used the curb networks, I believe like King Leno, which I would say are one of the most integral, important parts of this game, because it just adds such an easy detail. Just add some grass, or he has also mulch ones, but yeah, so maybe a little overboard, a bit green, but with the props and all, but it looks nice for sure. So I definitely kept it, because especially that corner there, it's a good amount of props I had to lay there of the curbs. But just laying a lot of curbs, filling in the empty space. That is certainly one of the hardest things to do in this game, is fill empty space, or I should say fill it and make it look good. It's easy just to lay a bunch of trees, which is the most common thing I would even do myself at times, which even later in this video. But creating empty space that looks good, that's detailed appropriately but not overdone, depending on the location in the city, if it's worn down or more nicer and upkept like this area should be. It's certainly a challenge, a creative challenge. So I really, people who can do it well, I love when I see a build that has well done and well detailed on empty spaces. But so just continuing detailing this corner, adding some trees, probably a little too many trees, because I certainly do go overboard with empty space at times, which I do believe actually delete a few trees, But now, as you can see, there's still a bunch of, or not a bunch, but a good amount of empty space back there. I decided on this spot there was enough room to add another strip of parking, which ideally, given how this entire little lot here is kind of a bit of a triangle with the train track running there, I would have had parking, lined from corner to corner, covering everything that the theater wasn't really. But another limitation of the parking lot networks, of course, I couldn't really do that and make it look nice. I thought about using just the building version of parking lots, which I have used before often, because with those you can definitely have more customization of how your parking lot looks. It's easier to make corners, or it'd be much easier to fill in space here where there's not just easy 90-degree angles. But this is much easier to use the parking lot networks and just lay the parking lot roads. Don't have to worry about laying any ploppable asphalt or any decals, so I just decided to go with that, which I figured it looks fine. But yeah, I'm revisiting the trees there to make it a little more open, because it was definitely too many trees there. But I'm sure some are going to say there's probably too many trees still there currently, but it definitely looks better in this game to have maybe a little more trees than what it would be in real life. But yeah, so on this side of the lot, I decided just to fill it in with the oil texture there, which is a nice worn down, dirty look, which I like compared to just the straight up gravel. The gravel is just just such a homogeneous looking texture, which looks fine, depending on how you use it. But if you want to cover an entire area, I'm not really a fan of it, especially at least the gravel theme that I'm using. But I really like using the oil and ore textures to fill up some empty space, because it adds some texture that isn't seen elsewhere. It makes it so it's not just one large grass patch or one large gravel patch that's all the same color. But yeah, so I'm just laying down some barriers here, so the train noise isn't too bad for the event goers at the theater. And then after this, I just try and fill in that empty space there without going too crazy. Laying some trees, mostly just those simple low try count trees there, which I do love. Yeah, go quite a few there, which I should have deleted maybe a few more than I actually did. But aside from just the trees, I lay some bushes. I really love these wild bushes. I'm not sure who they're by, but they're relatively new. Within a year, maybe 6 months or so. Not really sure, but they were really nice because they're a nice wild look compared to most of the bushes that are trimmed and really nice. But so we're approaching the end of the time lapse, and before we get to the cinematics, I have an overview of my city. Someone actually requested it, because I actually did this in my very first episode to ask for any ideas from people. But as you can see, the downtown is pretty much filled out. All we have to do now is expand from there. So I want your guys' ideas. I want to, whatever it may be, I don't want to run into any creative blocks. So shoot me your ideas in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you're new, and see you next time.